Body Holistics, and I am here to give you some good information that I have pulled out of my archives, trying to get some of this online for you. Today we'll be doing some understanding on retesting and symptoms that you may have during healing reactions and the way the organs heal themselves. And of course, this is strictly based on my understanding and opinion, and you are more than welcome to not listen to this and try to find your own information. But if you would like to understand a little bit more about how I have learned nutritional balancing, please listen. So a healing reaction is when the body is trying to create balance. It has to wind itself backwards or unwind itself backwards and find homeostasis. And sometimes that means it is going to get worse before it gets better. And Herring's law of cure, it starts in the head, and that can be the actual head itself or the psychological end of it. And then it goes from the inside out and from the top down and the last symptom to the first. So that is a very important thing to remember when you are healing, that you are going to always have the symptom that was closest to the time that you started trying to correct things to the first symptom. And if it was 30 years ago, that means that you are going to unwind backwards like that, almost like a layered blueprint, and each time you take off a layer, there's something that comes off of that picture. The first thing I want to share with you is something I found that I worked on before. I worked on this years ago, and take it, some of this stuff isn't perfect because everybody has different ways of healing, but it's a good general regeneration of organs. The intestines and the skin are the first to heal. The intestines can heal fairly quickly if they have some type of, as you know, if you've had any type of a virus or a bacterial infection, the intestines can get through it quickly because they're an elimination organ. Same thing with the skin. And of course with, scrapes and cuts and stuff. And as you get older, those things start to change. The blood at 90 to 120 days, 3 months to 6 months. And then the liver takes about 6 weeks to regenerate, and you can regenerate up to 70% of your liver, I believe. The adrenals, 3 to 12 months. So for all of you people who are in adrenal burnout, that's a good thing because that is less than a year, which is why you start to feel better quickly. The pancreas, same thing. And the muscle system, 6 months to a year as well. And I've said that to people, if you end up with a frozen shoulder, it can be a good 6 months before it gets resolved. Bones, a little bit longer, 8 months to 4 years, and that's going to really depend on your assimilation of your calcium. And then 1 to 7 years on the heart, the kidneys, the stomach, the gallbladder, the uterus, and the lungs. So take care of those things. Even though the kidneys are an elimination organ, they really do not do well with regeneration. So really take care of yourself. And I've been trying to get people to move away from protein drinks, anything that has, some type of a load to it. If you want to, for wording purposes, drinking calories is going to be a little bit more difficult on the body than just drinking water-based teas, herbal teas, regular water, and then eating your proteins. So think about that. That's not a difficult one. If you need to be drinking proteins, you probably need to be thinking about why, and spend some more time in the kitchen on the weekend. I'm very busy and I will pre-prep my whole week and put it into the freezer. So it only takes me maybe a half an hour to do that, maybe an hour on the weekend cooking, extra things. And then they say the brain never, but we don't really know that. The brain was just found out to be a part of the lymph system as well, not that long ago. So we're going to keep our minds open on the brain. Now, with the symptoms of healing reactions, and I wanted to go through this with my clients as well, these are the reactions that as your body restores, the symptoms of retracing that you may have. And what happens is with decompensation, the glands or the organs weaken, and they may not weaken evenly because some glands and organs are stronger than others. So as they start coming back, they're going to often, need different things, and the weaker ones may still be reacting and the stronger ones may be giving you more energy. So these are symptoms to keep in mind if you have low calcium or high calcium. When, and remember, your biochemistry is going to change on a regular hourly basis. This isn't something that's going to happen just because you did a hair analysis for 3 months means that every 3 months that's what it looks like. That's an average of every moment of the last 3 months. So irritability, quick thinking, quick reacting, diminished reactions, and nervous system fatigue when your calcium is biounavailable or starts to create a shell. The organs that are affected are mostly the nervous system, and then you will start to get a calcium shell. So it can create a cellular problem. So just to clarify that, if when you went through your analysis, the calcium shell is when the calcium actually starts to create a shell on the cellular system and things can't get through properly. Nothing can get assimilated, sodium, potassium can't pump well, and that starts to kind of diminish everything. And you'll see people start to get foggy and spacey. You'll start to see people get very, if you are with a therapist, a massage therapist, they'll say you're tight a lot or you're tensive. You may start to feel like you're inflexible. That's depositing the calcium into the cell, creating a shell effect. Copper, the little evil mineral, a sense of control and well-being detached from life, accumulating, and it can accumulate from fear, nightmares, exhaustion. You can get migraines, skin eruptions, acne on your face, your head, your neck. I will find little bumps on people's shoulders very often, especially after doses of antibiotics, which, by the way, create copper dumps. Chest, abdomen, and a dump is when it comes out of your system in a larger amount and creates a symptom. Chest, abdomen, thighs, it can create huge amounts of anxiety, joint pain, anorexia, reproductive area pain, and reproductive area problems. It can create premenstrual problems, it can create menstrual problems, it can create problems with getting pregnant, problems with perimenopause, problems with going into menopause. You name it. Copper is a little evil. You cannot live without it. It is so important for everything. But if too much or too little is just terrible. It can give you pain, nausea, liver area pain, changes. I just said that. Testicular pain if you're a man. It's a soft mineral. It can also, copper can create, you name it, from, what was I going to say? Copper can give you phobias. It can make you feel like you have, your mind is racing. It is the one mineral behind everything that we know of as being mentally and psychologically frustrated. And I'm not going to point any fingers at one specific thing, but there is a product that stops you from getting pregnant, and there's multiple products, and they will mess with your copper beyond anything you can ever imagine. So think about that when you live your life. Blood, brain, heart, kidneys, liver, and reproductive system is where it's stored. A lot in the liver. This will wake you up. This will stop you from going to bed. I'm trying to not talk too fast, but my point of copper is so many people are copper toxic, and if the copper starts to correct itself, it may give you so many different symptoms, and you may feel like, I can't do this, because the symptoms are not pleasurable at all, but it is worth trying to clean that copper out of your body. Iron. Iron is that angry, hostility, constipation, dizzy, and headaches, but anger is key. The miners that mined iron would usually try to, because they had so much toxicity of iron, their bodies would be very unable to absorb it, and they would look for it in sometimes in heavy alcohols that would have a higher iron content. And so they were always known for having, that anger, but it was really just an accumulation of iron. 75% of iron is stored in the blood, 25% in the liver. And remember, iron and copper really have a need for each other. The spleen and the bone marrow. Cadmium, toxic metal found in cigarettes. Kidneys, lower back, fatigue, metallic taste in the mouth, joint pain, bone pain, blood pressure rises. A lot of people do have cadmium because it does displace zinc. It stores in the liver, the kidneys, the pancreas, and the salivary glands. Nickel, another additional mineral, which in high amounts can cause the big C word. Kidney, fatigue, lung symptoms, and a cough. It does not have any place where it is notably stored, but it is stored somewhere. Mercury has a metallic taste, flushing, hot flashes, pain in the kidney area, emotional changes. It is stored in the kidneys, and alcohol reduces the blood and brain levels but increases the liver levels. And mercury can displace calcium and go into the bones as well. Aluminum, digestive disturbances, ALS, anemia, blood disorders. Now, aluminum and iron have a very intricate relationship, and I have read studies where they have found aluminum in the brains of people with dementia along with iron. Lungs, liver, thyroid, bone, and brain. It is where it is stored. Lead has symptoms of abdominal pain, constipation, depression, inflammation, aches and pains, hyperactivity. And it is stored in the bones and liver, and again can displace calcium. Medications and chemicals that have been accumulated can be eliminated. So if you are on medications and you've come off, or if you've been exposed to chemicals and not by the choice of yourself, they can be eliminated. The point of mineral balancing is to get the system back to a homeostasis where the body is balanced on the 4 macro minerals plus phosphorus, and all of these toxic metals are eliminated from the system, and the levels of the additional trace minerals come up to being in a good place, so the body can restore the adrenal system and the thyroid system, and all of the oxidation rates can, or the ratios can become normal and function better, so that your oxidation rate can come back to normal. So there it is, short and sweet. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please email me at physiobodyholistic